Chosen one. There is a reason you clicked on this message today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. Maybe you thought it was just another video. Maybe you were simply scrolling, looking for something to encourage your heart. But what if this moment was never an accident? What if God quietly guided your steps here because He wanted you to hear something your spirit has been waiting for? Stay with me, chosen one. Because before this message is over, you're going to understand why the season you've been living through has felt so different, and why what comes next could change everything. For a long time, you've been asking questions that seem to have no answers. You've prayed, you've waited, you've believed, and yet there were days when heaven felt silent. You wondered if God still remembered your name. You wondered if your prayers were reaching Him. Maybe you even asked yourself why doors kept closing when all you wanted was one chance to move forward. But here's what most people don't realize. God's silence is not God's absence. When He seems quiet, He is often doing His deepest work. Think about this. A seed makes no noise while it is growing beneath the ground. No one applauds it. No one notices it. Yet everything necessary for new life is happening where no human eye can see. In many ways, your life has looked just like that seed. People may have overlooked you. Some walked away because they couldn't see what God was building inside you. Others misunderstood your journey because they judged your present without knowing your purpose. But heaven has never taken its eyes off you. Every tear you've cried, every lonely night, every prayer whispered when no one else was listening. God heard every single one. Not one moment has been wasted. Not one lesson has been meaningless. Maybe you've been wondering why certain opportunities disappeared just when they seemed within reach, why relationships changed, why plans fell apart, why life kept pushing you into places you never expected to be. What if those disappointments weren't punishment? What if they were protection? Sometimes God closes a door because He sees what you cannot. Sometimes He delays an answer because the blessing isn't ready, or because you aren't ready to carry it yet. That doesn't mean you've been forgotten. It means you've been prepared, and there is a huge difference. Chosen one. Preparation rarely feels exciting while you're living through it. It often feels like confusion. It feels like waiting. It feels like wondering whether anything is happening at all. But underneath everything you can see, God has been arranging people, moments, and opportunities that will come together at exactly the right time. Nothing about His timing is random. Nothing catches Him by surprise. Here's something to think about. Have you noticed how different you've become over the past few months? The things that once distracted you don't have the same power anymore. The opinions of others don't control your heart the way they used to. You've become stronger, even if you don't always feel strong. You've become wiser through battles you never wanted to fight. You've learned to trust God in ways comfort could never teach you. That transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened one difficult day at a time, one prayer at a time, one act of faith at a time. And that's why this next season is so important. Because God doesn't prepare someone this deeply without preparing something meaningful for them as well. No, this isn't about luck. This isn't about coincidence. This is about divine timing. Some opportunities are created by people, but others are sent directly by God. The opportunity waiting ahead of you will not simply change your circumstances. It has the power to reveal why everything you've endured was necessary. But there's something even more important. Many people stand at the edge of their breakthrough without realizing it. They become tired just before the finish line. They lose hope moments before the answer arrives. And that's exactly why you need to hear what comes next. Because the way God prepares His chosen ones is often completely different from what the world expects. In the next part, we're going to uncover the hidden work God has been doing behind the scenes, and why your season of waiting may actually be the greatest sign that a divine opportunity is closer than you ever imagined. There is something about waiting that almost no one enjoys. We pray for quick answers. We hope for instant change. We want to see movement the moment we place our trust in God. But His greatest work rarely happens in a hurry. Chosen one. The season you've been calling a delay may actually be your greatest preparation. Think about this. If God had opened the right door a year ago, would you have been ready to walk through it? Would your faith have been strong enough to handle the responsibility? Would your heart have stayed focused on Him once the blessing arrived? These are difficult questions, but they matter. Because God is not only interested in changing your circumstances, He is committed to transforming you. Here's what most people don't realize. God often prepares the person before He presents the opportunity. That preparation doesn't always look spiritual on the outside. Sometimes it looks like disappointment. Sometimes it looks like rejection. Sometimes it feels like another unanswered prayer. Yet every challenge is shaping something inside you that success alone could never produce. Maybe you've noticed that certain people quietly disappeared from your life. At first it hurt. You wondered why those relationships had to end. But over time you began to see more clearly. Some people were only meant for one chapter. If they had stayed, they might have distracted you from where God is leading you now. Not every goodbye is a loss. Sometimes it is an act of divine protection. And maybe you've experienced moments when every plan seemed to fall apart. You worked hard, you stayed faithful, you expected the breakthrough. Instead, another obstacle appeared. It is easy to believe nothing is happening during moments like these, but heaven often works where human eyes cannot see. Imagine a master builder preparing the foundation of a great home. No one celebrates the foundation. It is buried beneath the ground. People passing by might think nothing is being built at all. Yet without that hidden work, everything above it would eventually collapse. Your faith has been built the same way. Every prayer spoken through tears. Every decision to keep believing. Every time you chose peace instead of bitterness. Another stone was being placed beneath your future. That foundation matters more than you know, because the blessing God is preparing isn't meant to last for a moment. It is meant to remain. Chosen one. There is another reason the waiting has been so important. The enemy cannot stop God's purpose, but he will always try to convince you to quit before you reach it. He whispers that nothing will ever change. He tells you that your prayers have gone unheard. He fills your mind with doubt just when hope begins to grow. Why? Because discouragement is often strongest when breakthrough is closest. Maybe you felt unusually tired lately, not just physically, spiritually, emotionally. You keep showing up, you keep praying, but part of you wonders how much longer you can keep going. If that's where you are today, hear this clearly. God sees every step you have taken in faith. He has not overlooked your obedience. He has not forgotten your sacrifice. He has not ignored the nights when only He knew how heavy your heart felt. Every faithful step has been recorded. Every act of trust has been seen, and none of it has been wasted. But there's something even more important. Waiting is not empty time. It is training time. While you've been waiting, your spiritual eyes have become sharper. Your heart has become more sensitive to God's voice. Your dependence on Him has grown deeper than ever before. Those changes are preparing you to recognize an opportunity that many people will completely miss, because not every opportunity announces itself with loud applause. Sometimes it arrives quietly. Sometimes it looks ordinary at first. Sometimes it comes disguised as a simple conversation, an unexpected invitation, or a door that suddenly opens after years of being closed. That's why your preparation matters so much. God doesn't want you chasing every opportunity. He wants you ready for the right one. And when that moment comes, everything you've learned during this season will help you recognize His hand with confidence instead of confusion. So don't lose heart, chosen one. The waiting has not been your weakness. It has been your classroom. Every lesson has been leading to something greater. And in the next part, we're going to uncover how this divine opportunity may appear, and why fear always tries to stop God's chosen ones just before the breakthrough begins. I'm ready to continue with part 3, keeping the same seamless flow and high retention storytelling. Now comes the moment many people never expect. After all the waiting, after all the quiet preparation, after all the lessons that seem to make no sense, God begins to move, but not always in the way people imagine. Chosen one. The opportunity you've been praying for may not arrive wrapped in certainty. It may come quietly. It may come unexpectedly. And if you're only looking for something dramatic, you could miss the very answer you've been asking God to send. Think about this. How often does God choose the unexpected? He opens doors that no one else believed could open. He uses ordinary moments to accomplish extraordinary purposes. He takes what seems small in the eyes of the world and turns it into something that changes lives forever. That's why you must stay spiritually alert, because your breakthrough may begin with one conversation, one phone call, one unexpected invitation, one new connection, one simple decision to step forward in faith. To everyone else, it may seem like just another ordinary day, but to you, it could become the day everything begins to change. Here's what most people don't realize. The closer you get to a God-given opportunity, the louder fear often becomes. Have you noticed that? Just when something good is about to happen, doubt suddenly shows up. Your mind starts asking questions. What if I fail? What if this isn't really from God? What if I'm not ready? Fear has a way of making you question everything you've spent years believing. But fear is not always a sign that you're going the wrong direction. Sometimes it is proof that you're standing at the edge of something that matters. The enemy cannot rewrite God's plan, but he will try to convince you to walk away from it. He will remind you of your past mistakes. He will point to every failure you've ever experienced. He will whisper that someone else is more qualified, someone else is more gifted, someone else deserves the opportunity more than you. But listen carefully, chosen one. God never calls you because you are perfect. He calls you because he is faithful. Your past does not cancel his purpose. Your weaknesses do not surprise him. Your limitations do not reduce his power. If he has prepared this opportunity for you, he already knows everything about you. He knows your fears. He knows your questions. He knows the moments when you've doubted yourself. And still, he is calling you forward. Maybe that's why you felt a strange mix of excitement and uncertainty lately. Part of your heart feels hopeful. Another part feels cautious. You can't fully explain it. You simply sense that something is shifting. Don't ignore that feeling. Sometimes God prepares your spirit before he changes your surroundings. Before a new door opens, he awakens your expectation. Before your circumstances change, he changes the way you see them. That quiet stirring inside you may not be your imagination. It may be God preparing you to recognize what is coming. But there's something even more important. When the opportunity appears, it may require faith before it provides proof. That's how faith has always worked. You take one step, then God reveals the next. You trust him with today's decision. Then he unfolds tomorrow's direction. If you wait until every question has an answer, you may remain standing outside the very door God has opened. Remember, faith is not the absence of uncertainty. Faith is choosing to trust God's voice even when you cannot see the entire path. Chosen one, don't let fear disguise itself as wisdom. There is a difference between waiting on God's timing and allowing fear to keep you frozen. One is led by faith. The other is controlled by doubt. Ask God for discernment. Listen for his peace. And when he makes the path clear, don't keep looking behind you. Move forward with confidence, knowing that the one who prepared you will also walk with you. Because the opportunity itself is only part of the miracle. The greater miracle is who you are becoming as you step into it. And in the next part, we'll discover exactly how to respond when that divine opportunity arrives. So you don't hesitate, second-guess yourself, or miss what God has been preparing all along. Chosen one, there is a reason God has spent so much time preparing your heart before placing the opportunity in your hands. Because what you do in the first moments matters. Many people pray for open doors. Few are truly ready to walk through them. Think about this. An opportunity from God is more than a new beginning. It is an invitation to trust him on a deeper level than ever before. When that moment comes, don't let hesitation steal what faith has been building. You may not have every answer. You may not know how every detail will work out. But remember who has been leading you all this time. It wasn't your own strength that carried you through the waiting. It was God's faithfulness. And the same God who sustained you in the hidden season will guide you in the visible one. Here's what most people don't realize. Breakthrough is not just about receiving something new. It's about responding in a new way. The old version of you might have doubted. The old version of you might have allowed fear to make every decision. The old version of you might have waited for perfect conditions before taking a single step. But you are not the same person anymore. The waiting changed you. The struggles strengthened you. The quiet seasons taught you how to recognize God's voice above the noise of fear. That is why this opportunity is different. You are different. Maybe the door that opens won't look as impressive as you expected. Maybe it will seem too small, too simple, too ordinary. Don't make the mistake of judging God's plan by first impressions. Some of the greatest blessings begin in ways that seem almost unnoticed. A single conversation, a simple act of obedience, one unexpected invitation, one decision to say yes when everything inside you wants to stay comfortable. Never underestimate small beginnings. God has always been able to multiply what people overlook. Chosen one, when the opportunity arrives, guard your heart carefully. Not everyone will understand where God is leading you. Some people will question your decisions. Others may remind you of your past. A few may even discourage you because they cannot see what God has shown you. Do not allow someone else's fear to become your future. People can only speak from the level of vision they possess. But God sees the end from the beginning. If he has opened the door, you don't need the approval of everyone around you. You only need the courage to obey. Here's another truth that many people forget. Gratitude unlocks clarity. When you focus only on what you still don't have, it's easy to become discouraged. But when you thank God for how far he has already brought you, your faith begins to rise again. Take a moment and remember. Remember the prayers He has already answered. Remember the battles He already brought you through. Remember the times when you thought it was over, yet somehow He made a way. The God who was faithful then has not changed today. His character is constant. His promises remain true. His timing is always perfect. But there's something even more important. When your opportunity finally arrives, don't rush ahead without God. Success means very little if it pulls you away from the one who gave it to you. Keep praying. Keep listening. Keep seeking His wisdom with every new step. The blessing should never become more important than the one who blessed you. That's how you remain strong even after the breakthrough comes. Chosen one, this next season is not about proving yourself to the world. It is about faithfully walking in the purpose God has prepared for you. You don't have to compare your journey to anyone else's. You don't have to compete for what God has already assigned to you. What He has prepared for you cannot be stolen by another person. What He has spoken over your life will arrive in His perfect time. So when that moment comes, walk forward with humility. Walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with peace. Not because you know every step ahead, but because you know the one who is leading you. And in the final part, we're going to discover why this divine opportunity is about more than changing your circumstances. It is about fulfilling a purpose that God has been shaping in your life from the very beginning. We'll also close with a powerful declaration of faith that I believe will encourage your heart long after this message ends. Chosen one, as this message comes to an end, I want you to remember one truth above everything else. Your life has never been defined by the delays you've experienced. It has always been defined by the faithfulness of the God who has been walking beside you. When you look back, you may remember the pain. You may remember the unanswered questions. You may remember the nights when you wondered if anything would ever change. But one day, you'll also remember how God never stopped working. You'll see how every closed door redirected your steps. You'll understand why certain plans had to fall apart. You'll recognize that what once felt like a setback was actually the beginning of something far greater than you could imagine. Think about this. What if the season you've been calling the end is actually God's way of saying, get ready for a new beginning? What if the opportunity you've been praying for is already moving toward you, even though you cannot see it yet? Faith often sees what the eyes cannot. That is why God calls His chosen ones to trust Him before they understand Him. Maybe today your circumstances haven't changed. Maybe the answers you're hoping for haven't arrived yet. But something can change right now. Your perspective, your expectation, your confidence in God's promises. The moment your heart begins to expect God's goodness again, hope starts to rise. And hope has a way of giving strength to people who thought they had nothing left. Here's what most people don't realize. The greatest miracle is not simply that God opens doors. The greatest miracle is that He transforms ordinary people into living examples of His grace. That is exactly what He has been doing in your life. Every challenge has been shaping your character. Every trial has deepened your faith. Every moment of waiting has prepared you to carry a blessing without allowing that blessing to carry you away from God. You are not the same person who began this journey. You have grown stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more dependent on God's guidance, and that inner transformation is a victory no circumstance can ever take away. So as you move into this new season, don't carry the weight of yesterday. Leave regret behind. Leave fear behind. Leave every lie that says you are too late, too weak, or too broken. Those voices do not define your future. God's promises do. Chosen one, lift your eyes. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep walking in faith. Even when you cannot see the entire road ahead, the God who sustained you in the valley will not abandon you on the mountain. The God who strengthened you in hidden places will also stand beside you in moments of victory. And when your divine opportunity finally arrives, receive it with gratitude. Walk through that door with humility. Use every blessing to bring hope, kindness, and light into the lives of others. Because God's purpose has never been only about changing your life. It has always been about allowing your life to become a testimony that points people back to Him. Before you leave today, I want you to make a simple declaration of faith, not because God needs to hear it, but because sometimes your own heart needs to speak it. Write these words in the comments. I am ready for God's perfect timing. Let that be your declaration today. And if this message encouraged your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who may be waiting for their own breakthrough. You never know how one message of hope can change another person's day. Remember this, chosen one. The story God is writing in your life is not over. The waiting was not your ending. The preparation was not your destination. and the opportunity ahead is not an accident. It is another chapter in a journey that has always been held in God's hands. Walk forward with faith, walk forward with courage, walk forward with hope, because the God who called you is faithful, and He is not finished with your story.